Hi, my name is Ty Smith. I'm a retired United States Navy SEAL. I served in the Navy for 20 years from 1996 through 2016. Throughout my career in the SEAL teams, I completed 6 deployments to the Middle East, to include Iraq and Afghanistan and the United Arab Emirates. Throughout my career in the SEAL teams, I had a phenomenal career. I had my share of combat experience, and I pretty much checked every box that an operator wanted to check throughout a really kinetic career in the special operations community. I achieved all of my goals. I lived my dream. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL since I was a 12-year-old boy, and I was really blessed in that I was able to go on and actually accomplish that with my life. But throughout all of that time that I dreamt of becoming a Navy SEAL, throughout my time going through SEAL training and preparing to experience combat for the very first time, no one ever really talked to me about what would be on the other side of my experiences in combat, what would be on the other side of my life once I transition out of the military and into civilian life, and the life that I'm living now as a civilian, as a businessman, as the CEO of a rapidly growing technology company. No one really ever talked to me about the price that I would really have to pay and for the rest of my life. And that price is post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. And this isn't to the fault of my family and friends that I served in the military with and people that helped to raise me, because they just didn't know any better themselves. Even when I was going through SEAL training, starting in February of 2002, most of my BUDS instructors, they didn't have combat experience at the time because they were between wars. And a lot of those men experienced combat for the very first time around the same time that I did. And a lot of those men are dealing with the after effects of nearly 2 decades at war at the highest levels of military special operations, just like I am. So I'm sharing my story because when I transitioned out of the SEAL teams in 2016 and into life as I know it now, I brought some really, really heavy and serious baggage with me. I was at dinner with my wife and kids one night in San Diego. We were at a restaurant in Hillcrest, and I stood up from the dinner table and I looked down at my wife and my son, and I said, "I love you and I'll see you when I get home." And my wife looked up at me and with this strange look on her face, she asked, "Where are you going?" And I said to her, "I'm going to the emergency room at Naval Medical Center right now. I need help right now." And I don't know how I knew, but I knew in my heart that if I had gone home with my wife and son that night, I was going to kill myself. I was going through a really, really hard time. On the surface, I appeared to be fine, squared away even. Professionally, I was finishing graduate school at a really good school. I was standing up the company that I'm still running to this day. I had already gotten way ahead of the curve with all my VA paperwork, everything. On the surface, I appeared to be fine. But in my heart, I was a mess. I was in chaos. I think a very significant part of who I am was still in the Tangi Valley of Afghanistan. And I think every night in my brain, I was in a fight for my life. And I came really, really close to losing that fight. I don't know why I found the courage to stand up from the dinner table that night. Of all times, of all places, I don't know why, but I'm really glad that I did, because I'm afraid that if I didn't, I wouldn't be here to talk to you today. And I'm sharing my story of my transition and how difficult it was, because I'm hoping that if someone like me, that people look up to for whatever reason, because I'm a retired Navy SEAL and I did all these cool things throughout my military career, and I'm the CEO of a rapidly growing technology company now, and all these other reasons that people look up to me. For whatever reason, I don't think I'm anyone special, by the way, but if I can share my story and admit to all of you that even, big tough Ty Smith, who's a retired Navy SEAL and the CEO of a company, if I was hurting to the point where I was even questioning why I was on this planet and if I wanted to continue to be on this planet, I understand if you're asking yourself those questions as well. And I want you to know that it's okay. It is okay to stop what you're doing, take a knee, raise your hand, and say, something's wrong. I need help. I need help right now. Every day, we lose nearly 22 of our veterans and service members to suicide as a result of post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. Well, I'm telling you right now, that is 22 too many. And again, if I can raise my hand and say, hey, I need help right now, I hope that any of you that are feeling anything remotely close to what I was feeling at that time, I'm hoping that you gain courage from this and you stop what you're doing. You take a knee, you raise your hand, and you admit to your loved ones that you need help right now. Transitioning from the military is really, really difficult, especially when you consider everything that we as service members have endured over the last couple of decades. This country has been at war. We've lost a very significant part of who we are. We've lost loved ones. We've lost people that have meant everything to us. And we've seen and experienced things that normal human beings don't get to see and experience. And because of that, we are no longer normal ourselves. And I want you to know, again, that it is okay. It's okay. Stop, take a knee, raise your hand, and ask for help. 22 veterans a day is too many. That's the story of my transition, and I hope that you find the strength to ask for help if you need it. Don't get me wrong. I got help, and I'm still getting help to this day, but I understand that post-traumatic stress and my diagnosis of traumatic brain injury is something that I'm going to have to live with. I'm going to have to deal with and navigate every day for the rest of my life. But because I got the help that I asked for, I have a much better understanding of how to live with traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress. I have a much better understanding of myself and how to actually navigate this process for the rest of my life so that I'm not overcome with the grief that comes with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. I hope that you take strength from this message and understand that if I can swallow my pride and ask for help, it's okay for you to do the same. Because you don't have to go through this alone. You don't have to go through your transition from military service to life as a civilian alone. And you certainly don't have to go through dealing with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury alone. If you need help, stop what you're doing right now. Take a knee, raise your hand, and ask for it. We love you, and we certainly have your back.